This week on It's Happening Out. Suicide touches home for It's Happening Out.
Kids at risk. And it is a problem, and yet, in the United States, I think
We were at Diversity Honors, and it was great. On our road to Stonewall, Barbara Giddings.
Is something that has been a real guiding notion in my own life in the movement.
Uncle Joe Biden called out for inappropriate touching.
To give out here.
It's all happening out tonight. Join us on YouTube, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. Special guest, NapoleonPlays. And your host, fashion designer Carlos Marrero. Trans activist Aaron Phoenix. Reality star Chef Josie. DJ Diva Power Infiniti. Log cabin Republican Joe Brookman. And our host, Al Ferguson. It all starts right now, live on It's Happening Out.
Yes! Oh my God! I would say that, and I would be like crucified.
All right.
We are live.
Well, can y'all stop now? I mean, come on. All right. Good evening, America, and welcome to another episode of It's Happening Out. We are so happy you're joining us tonight. We have so many interesting things that we're going to show you and talk about. We have so many interesting people on our panel tonight as hosts. We have returning familiar faces.
Faces?
Yeah, I drank a glass of wine.
I was going to say, we're not inviting fascists to the table.
Replace Joe with a fascist.
So many things to tell you. First off, we are so glad that you have tuned in tonight. We remind you to please make sure you share us. Let them know, your friends and family, on your Facebook feed or your Instagram feed, whatever, YouTube, whatever it might be. Right now, share us on your page so more can know that we are live at It's Happening Out. Remember, this is a live show, and the live show, as we have proved over and over again, means live. Anything can happen, anything can be said. You will hear things tonight that are likely going to be shocking and funny and interesting above all else. We're a live show, and anything can happen. So share us now. We'd really appreciate it, and share it with your friends. We're watching you, and we'll talk to you as we go. In fact, I'm logging in as we speak.
We're watching.
Okay. So first off, let me tell you about who is sitting here in front of you. Of course, all of the cast that you know regularly, but I have to say, for the first time in like 9.5 years, Power Infiniti is back. Welcome back, Power Infiniti.
Yes! Welcome back, Preston. Yes.
And I have to say, before Power says anything, Power decided that tonight, after being back for the first time in a while, he would go very understated. Which is what he has done tonight. Welcome back, Power. We missed you dearly, of course, as you know.
It's so good to be back.
Yeah, very good. And, of course, an old face. I get the first old joke in for the evening of the old face. One of our original hosts, and he has come back, and we can't wait to explore what he's been up to. And we'll do that through the show, through many, many jokes, is NapoleonPlays. Welcome back, Napoleon.
I look forward to being explored. I guarantee
Explored,
it.
yes.
And since I missed it last week, Al, I heard that you had milk on last week. Was that just to make sure that you don't break any more bones? Yeah. I know. We have lots of old jokes to catch up on. So many.
We do. All right. Dude, you don't have a chance in the world because I'm getting ready to knock you out. All right. So let's get started. First, at the top of every show, we give you something fun. We give you the meme of the week. And boy, do we have a good one this week. You're seeing it right now, our meme of the week from our friends at Chick-fil-A. And of course, our pickles don't touch, just like God intended. It's a great meme.
I wish we had pickles, like a pickle challenge right now for us,
Yes.
just in some way to do.
Has anybody eaten a Chick-fil-A in years? Has anybody really?
Oh, in years?
Years.
Yeah.
You really?
Yeah.
Yeah. I haven't eaten a Really? Wow.
They have lots of gluten-free options.
Bad gay.
Bitch, it was like
yeah,
hard
in
to get to
years.
Naples,
Okay.
and I was
There's
starving.
so many
I was
more
like,
Blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. Okay.
So
all right.
he
We'll
said
bring that up
years.
later. There are worse
Years.
things
All
to
right.
boycott than Chick-fil-A.
Okay, that's our meme
I
of the
just love
week.
that Aaron just gave me this look like fire. Like,
I didn't need to get. Listen, there's no ethical consumption or capitalism.
Oh, bam. All right.
start.
there we go.
We're going to have so much fun tonight, America. Stay tuned. Stay tuned. All right. Next, we talk about the best thing of the week. I'd like to start the show off by talking about really great things before we get into some of the serious things. Best thing of the week. Have you seen this thing that this drag queen did called the Baby Shark Challenge? Well, this drag queen was doing a performance where there was children present, and this child, very young, almost a toddler, yelled out, "Play the Baby Shark song." I had never heard of it before, and the drag queen said yes in the show, and they found the song and played it, and the drag queen lip-synced it, and the crowd went wild.
That's wholesome.
From that, the drag queen produced a video on the Baby Shark Challenge. And we've captured it for you. Watch this, America. Very exciting because that song's going to play all the way through the show in my head. And Power Infiniti just shared with me because he's doing Miami Pride Friday night or Saturday night. Saturday night is Miami Beach Pride, and he's going to be spinning right on the beach, and he's decided he's going to remix this song right into Miami Beach Pride. All right.
The power mix.
Yes. Fun. We couldn't resist. We thought it was hilarious. Second, we're doing two best things of the week, and this one was a great one. I was at Diversity Honors with my friend here, and you did a great job at Diversity Honors. What an
Josie,
amazing
you look
experience.
great.
We're going
You
to tell
look
you about that in a minute. You're going to see an interesting summary of the National Diversity Honors. That we did with Meghan McCain and Stuart Milk.
Here we
and
go.
How
The
many
name drop.
Name drop. Name drop.
There's a bucket.
Yes, there's a bucket. Right, exactly. Well, a little interesting best thing of the week came out of that. Norwegian Airlines. Norwegian Airlines announced at the National Diversity Honors that they were painting a brand new Boeing Dreamliner. And guess what they are doing? It's painted in celebration of Harvey Milk and the gay rights structure of our civil rights efforts from Stonewall.
I think that deserves applause.
Yes, absolutely. And we couldn't get away with not saying it was one of the best things of the week that we saw. Final thing that we want to tell you before we get the show started is, again, as I always remind America, so many people, so many viewers tell me, why do you allow Joe Brookman to talk so much? And equally, people say, why do you allow Aaron and Power to talk so much? And oh, by the way, and Josie. And by the way, oh, Carlos also. And used to, by the way, Napoleon too.
Nobody says that.
Everybody says that.
Ouch, man. So I should comment, I was actually at the Diversity Honors Awards as well. I got to hear things that you guys didn't mention, like McCain and Stuart Milk both talking about how they were legacy children from other people. That's fascinating. When would they ever be put in context together except for at these awards? Crazy.
Yeah, true. And you're going to see a video package on it that actually does that, Napoleon. But thank you. So anyway, my joke is,
First read.
why are you still talking? Each of our hosts tonight, as always, has a chip. Y'all got chips?
Yep.
Yes.
All right.
I have
so
two.
we have a timer. It's an obnoxious noise that we hear here. And by the way, we're going to talk about this in just a little bit. We're coming from our previous location, now our permanent location, the Grand Hotel, Fort Lauderdale. The Fort Lauderdale Grand
We
Hotel.
are back.
And we it's been in the works for quite a while. We're going to tell you a brand new permanent set is coming here at the Grand. We're going to tell you about that, and you're going to meet somebody from the Grand Hotel in a moment. But in our segments, if when we finish, any of these bitches have anything left to say at the end of the segment, they can throw their chip in and they get one uninterrupted minute if they want. But they can only use the chip once through the whole show. So I caution all of you. Napoleon, first time you've played this game, use it carefully because you can only
Are you
use it
excited
once.
about your chip?
All
I'm
right.
excited about it being my first time at something again. Fine.
Gotta be a virgin at something,
That was
bitch.
There's lots of first
14, I heard. Yeah.
Still
All right.
available.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. All right. So that's our ground rules. Everybody ready to play? It's happening out like a
Wait.
game show.
Oh my
We're gonna play
gosh.
game show. It's happening out. Okay.
No
the
whammies.
gayest game show on the planet. We remind you, we're coming, by the way, from the Grand Hotel in Fort Lauderdale, Wilton Manors. This is the gayest place on planet Earth, and we're getting ready to prove it to you in just a few minutes. Finally, we're going to prove it.
It's just a picture of Power in that outfit.
That's not gay.
That's gay. It's definitely gay. Okay. All right, let's get ready, and here we go. Let's begin with headlines. Lots of stuff in the headlines.
Oh, God.
I want to talk a moment about the Mueller report. Now, as everybody knows, breaking news today, the House has moved to subpoena the Mueller report, not to have the 4-page summary from the Attorney General, but to have the entire, 280-page report, unredacted, distributed to the Congress. And that subpoena has been done. The chairman of Judiciary, after the vote, has given the Attorney General, I believe, a week to voluntarily do it before they go to court. Interesting, at Diversity Honors, we had Congressman Debbie Wasserman Schultz, and we did an interview with her. And while we were talking about diversity, of course, I was thinking about you, America. I couldn't help but go, Congressman Schultz, let's talk about the Mueller report. And you can kind of see the shock on her face, but then she tells us this after my question. Watch what she said. About the publication of the report. Where are you on that? What do you think?
Well, we have to make sure, first and foremost, that the entire report is released unredacted as soon as possible. A 4-page summary by Trump's hand-picked Attorney General, who had a bias coming into the job in the first place, is not what the American people should expect. And we have to make sure that we can continue to get to the bottom of particularly the obstruction of justice issues and collusion that, frankly, I believe both of which were evident, despite what the 4-page summary says.
Well, as you can see, we were thrilled to get the former chairman of the Democratic National Committee, and of course everybody knows of the relationship with Hillary Clinton and the emails about the presidential campaign. We were thrilled to be able to have that interview and ask something that was so topical on the Mueller report. We're going to keep us all abreast about what happens next with the subpoena.
Can I just tell you how much I want to give her a blow dry? Her hair
Blow
is
dry.
awful.
Wow.
I definitely thought you were
The hair is giving me no life. It's like blow dry that shit or something.
No one I thought he was about
Just
to say
keeping it
blow
cute.
dry.
Keeping it cute.
No
Never
one-
mind.
I saw
You're gonna end
something
it dry.
because on Instagram they're always sending you those promos, and they just had this tool to take out the, I guess.
The curls.
I guess I don't even know what I don't have.
America,
curls.
She
I-
looks horrible with that
America.
hair. Release it to the Holy Spirit. Papa, can you hear me?
America, we were
no.
not scheduled to even discuss one word of that video package.
When you
that
have
I
a
did.
fashion person and you have that hair, you have to talk about
And
it.
this is happening from the panel. So I just want to point out, this is what the panel talks about. I talk about the details of the Mueller report. So that's
the
the
devil
difference.
talks in the details.
Yes, exactly right. All right, in the headlines. Moving on, other big headlines this week. Uncle Joe.
Oh, gosh.
Uncle Joe is in the headlines. Joe Biden's inappropriate touching. He has, in breaking news, commented today for the first time. He did a video package in Facebook and Instagram and talked about how he didn't really understand that what he was doing might be inappropriate. We show you a slide here, and we have a little video to show you about which Lucy Flores said about this accusation. Watch this in the news.
Well, it happened also suddenly. It's, anyone who's ever been at a rally recognizes that there is just chaos. There's a lot of energy, that everyone's running back and forth. Eva Longoria was there. We were all lined up next to the stage. Eva was in front of me. Joe Biden was behind me. I'm kind of preparing myself to give these remarks. It's the very last days before the election. And very unexpectedly and out of nowhere, I feel Joe Biden put his hands on my shoulders, get up very close to me from behind, lean in, smell my hair, and then plant a slow kiss on the top of my head. To have the Vice President of the United States do that to me so unexpectedly and just kind of out of nowhere, it was just shocking. It was shocking because you don't expect that kind of intimate behavior. You don't expect that kind of intimacy from someone so powerful and someone who you just have no relationship whatsoever to touch you and to feel you and to be so close to you in that way. So I frankly just didn't even know how to react. I was just shocked. I felt powerless. I felt like I couldn't move. I just didn't even know how to process it.
Quite significant charges. Vice President Biden has responded today. We'll be watching it clearly. It's in the news. We're not really going to talk about it, but we make observation to you.
Oh, yes, we're going to talk about it.
Yeah,
Are we?
we should.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're going to talk about it.
Power's got something to say.
But Joe Biden misjudged, misperceived, mistook his dynamic with this woman. He made a mistake. We already know one thing about Joe Biden. Joe Biden is the king of mistakes. He is the gaffe king. He is the inappropriate king. We already knew that about Joe Biden. So he made a mistake. But that being said, I do not feel that this mistake came with any ill intent or nefarious intention. And because of that, yes, wrong is wrong, but there's degrees of wrong. And so that being said, this does not, for me, change in any way, shape, or form my opinion of Joe Biden, either as a man or as a candidate. His body of work, his dedication to this country, I think far surpasses his mistake. And a mistake is what it was. And for me, like I posted yesterday, so what?
Other thoughts?
And power. I'm going to use my chip because it's been 2 weeks since I've used the chip. So have a drink, baby.
All right, I will.
Have a kiki.
He's just bought me a drink.
All right. So one thing that I wanted to piggyback on that is that he perhaps is not my favorite candidate. I think we need something younger. That's just between you and I.
You've got lots of options.
Yeah, we do. And but he did send a video today, and in the video he said social norms have begun to change. They've shifted, and the boundaries of protecting personal space have been reset. And I get it. and I get it, and I get it, and I hear what you're saying. So the difference between Joe Biden and Mr. whoever the fuck is in the White House is that this one is accepting responsibility,
That's right.
and he is a good man.
That's right.
So there you go.
right.
To that point,
Yeah,
when
you guys can clap.
Yeah. To that point, I when I watched Vice President Biden's comments, I could not help but think about the campaign in 2016 of the Inside Edition comments and the recommendations and all of the conversation about what Donald Trump said and the accusations against him, and then Donald Trump make a joke 2 days ago about, "Hey Joe, how's it going for you?" coming from the perspective that he did. I thought it was.
I'll just say that
Sociopathic.
Lucy,
Bitch, you need to use
her
the chip.
language
Yeah, you'll
doesn't
have to
match
use the
her
chip.
message. Oh,
Yeah.
okay, then I'm
Or
not.
shut
Save
up.
it later.
All right, good. All right.
Welcome back, Napoleon.
I'll interrupt sooner next time. Got it.
Interrupt sooner.
Things have
All right.
changed a
We're
little
moving
bit.
on in the news. We
Politeness
want to talk
gone.
about Puerto Rico. And something very interesting was said yesterday by the governor of Puerto Rico. He talked about, by the way, if we would have done the exact same thing on this show, exactly, the Secret Service would be
again.
knocking on our door.
Or on my door again.
Again, exactly. And I love that. Oh, and by the way,
Are they like sexy
I
service
heard, although you're out on parole again, I heard you were in Facebook jail again.
Bitch, I'm in the clink again.
Exactly.
Clank, clickety clank.
Well,
You look cute in orange.
exactly. The governor
Orange
of
is the new black.
the governor of Puerto Rico had very interesting comments this week about the hurricane, but specifically about President Trump. Watch this.
Tensions are escalating between the governor of Puerto Rico and President Trump during a closed-door meeting with Republicans. President Trump complained about the amount of disaster relief going to the island in the wake of Hurricane Maria.
Does it feel that way sometimes? That you're dealing with a bully?
If the bully gets close, I'll punch the bully in the mouth.
Just like that?
Just like that. I don't. It would be a mistake to confuse courtesy with courage.
It has been a delicate dance for this governor as he continues to push for more funding for recovery efforts.
Do you think the president treats people of Puerto Rico as citizens?
Well, treats us as second-class citizens. That's for sure. And my consideration is, I just want to have the opportunity to explain to him why the data and information that he's getting is wrong. I don't think getting into a kicking and screaming match with the president does any good. I don't think anybody can beat the president on a kicking and screaming match.
Just to let you guys know, Al said, I don't think we should clap when we come out of this. Fuck that.
Hello.
As you can see, America, ringmaster tigers. I have no control. All right. Well,
as the Puerto Rican in the house,
okay. All right.
I have to say that on September 11, we lost 2,996 Americans. And what did we do? We get to fucking war. Not with one country, but with two countries. What was the response of losing 3,000 American Puerto Rican people? Where was our war? Non-existent. Our government has done almost nothing to figure out what happened or how they can do what they can do to not to happen again. He claims that Puerto Rico, that he spent $91 billion in this, and it hasn't even been close to $11 billion out of the $41 billion that were assigned by the federal authorities to be spent in Puerto Rico. This is one of the biggest fiascos, and the part that pisses me off the most is the Puerto Ricans that are still for fucking Trump. I don't get it.
Other thoughts?
Can you just clarify something?
Yes.
When you say, how do we prevent this from happening? You're not talking about Mother Nature, obviously. What exactly did you mean when you said that?
Well, when we are willing to fix up the whole electric company of Puerto Rico, there's no they hire a private company to do this. I have no chip, so somebody jump in. But it's really, really, really upsetting because billions of dollars have been allocated and they have not even been spent. And what I hate the most is that this is all based in a racist and colonial attitude from the president because he thinks that we are not American citizens.
Yeah,
and I am an American citizen.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yep. And I mean, the governor
I have
just
to,
said,
no, we're out of time unless you use a chip.
Fine.
You can't.
I won't use it. I just want to punch him too. He doesn't want to.
All right. I have to say first and foremost,
rules.
Joe Brookman, my friend, was supposed to be here tonight. He is still in Washington, D.C.
He chickened out.
Doing whatever nefarious things he's doing in Washington, D.C.
What are you doing?
I know. What the hell is he?
I told you it was at one of them goat sacrifices.
Joe.
Joe was babies.
Joe, we love you and we miss you. Joe will be back next week. It'll be the first time in a while where Power's sitting there, Joe's sitting there. You saw the meme that we did this week.
That means the only people left to sit next to you are the Puerto Ricans and the Mexicans.
Yes.
So good luck to you with that.
So Joe, we wish you back.
Joe, how does it feel? Because I know you're watching at home to see another Democrat take a Republican seat.
Oh dear. Those are fighting words. All right. Let's
Can we
move
do
on.
a Jello shot on that? No, I'm just kidding.
All right. Next in the news is Brunei and the dust up this week that has begun about Sharia law. I'm not pronouncing that completely correct, but the government of Brunei and especially the royal family in Brunei, the country, the national government, which is really the royal family, owns many famous hotels in the world luxury. The Dorchester in London, which I've stayed at. The Beverly Hills Hotel, which I've stayed at, the Athénée in Paris, which I've stayed at, and the Hotel Bel Air in Los Angeles, right? Exactly, and others.
So the question is, why weren't other guests there?
Wait.
Al Ferguson?
So the issue is they have come out against homosexuality that is punishable in Brunei by stoning. And it is supported by the royal family who owns these hotels. And as a result, Elton John and George Clooney and others are leading a boycott against these hotels that are owned by the Brunei government and the royal family. Big news this week. What do y'all think about this?
Anytime you want to attack or defend or strategically come up against someone who you might need to get their attention, the first thing you do is you cut off their financial
piggy bank,
the benefits, the monetary gains. And of course, a boycott is going to be one part of this action that we take. Our LGBTQ family are being stoned in streets, here in specifically, but all around the world, this is happening to our community. So this is just one move on this chess game that we're playing, and it's going to continue to require us to be courageous, and also put our money where our mouth is and use our money consciously, and not support the agendas who are coming at us.
Yeah, and that's not just Chick-fil-A, which is the one everyone likes to point fingers at. Chick-fil-A is bad because they give money to anti-LGBTQ nations or to organizations. This is so much worse. That's just funding someone. This is going to a location that advocates and goes through with stoning, not just murder, but stoning. That's one of the most gruesome types of death. So if you can possibly post about Chick-fil-A and delay that one
really
day
terrific point.
and make it about, I think the hashtag is boycott Brunei, just consider that for a minute because it's so much more than Chick-fil-A.
Does anybody else
Hundreds of
disagree?
our brothers and sisters are already moving the fudge out of that place. They're already running.
Yeah.
I heard this morning.
Yeah, I mean, that's why I said there's no ethical consumption under capitalism. Literally, anywhere you go, there are atrocities like this being funded by various different corporations. So you can either join in on that, or you can do what we've done with Coachella and to completely ignore it and support it anyway.
Yeah.
Okay,
we're gonna watch the boycott and see how successful it is. Our last moment in the headlines this week has to do with Jussie Smollett.
Again.
And we have reported on this and reported on this. It's been 2 months. I said today in our production center when we were preparing, I'm just so tired of talking about this.
So is the
now
nation.
the allegations this week are that how the prosecutor handled the case and the implication that someone in the Obama administration or the Obama administration itself had some connection in terms of what the prosecutor was doing in handling it, and that's why he got basically dismissed where other people that could be of color, etc., would not be. What do y'all think about the allegations this
Okay,
week?
so basically this former aide, this whole thing, the Obama connection has nothing to do with nothing, so I don't even understand that.
It was the aide
But
to Obama.
but this aide, basically, when she found out that the family, Jussie's family, was kind of feeling like Chicago PD was being a little shady, shocker, she gave them a number of the top prosecutor who could be on the case. I'm just saying, like, good for her. Kudos for actually stepping up and helping out a family after seeing all of the history of Chicago PD's bullshit. Now, meanwhile, while we were all worried about Jussie, Ashanti Carmen, 27-year-old black trans woman right outside of D.C., Joe's hometown, was murdered on Saturday, on the day before the Trans Day of Visibility, which is the one and only holiday that the trans community has to celebrate our lives as opposed to mourning our dead. She was murdered the day before. So while we were all still talking 4 weeks now, 5 weeks, whatever it's been, about this Jussie Smollett bullshit, exactly what I've been saying. Everybody, Aaron, why won't you shut up? Why are you talking about, black trans women? We know they get murdered. Well, there you go. Perfect example right there. That's exactly what happened.
And make sure to follow Aaron. He had an amazing 11 article follow-up to that day, and if you haven't seen it, you definitely should.
Thank you.
Does anybody, we finished at the segment, but is anybody else want to talk about Jussie Smollett? Or
No,
we
I am done. I think there's so many bigger fishes to fry and so many things happening that this is bullshit. The only thing that I love is that the Chicago mayor, who was going to be my favorite thing.
Wait, we're coming to my don't say that yet. Can I come back to it?
But I have another favorite thing. But I love her, and then she said that it looked like it was a hoax.
The only special thing about this is that he wouldn't have had a headline at all if he weren't famous.
Let's drop this in. We didn't put it in headlines and news, but let's close the exhaustion of Jussie Smollett with absolute fantastic news. Yesterday, a new mayor was elected in Chicago, and it became historic. Lori Lightfoot becomes the first woman, black, gay mayor of the city of Chicago, city number 2 in America, and we congratulate her. I did a post today. Thank you, America. Many people commented on it. Many of you posted on it. I appreciate it. And I basically said, wow, congratulations to Chicago. Second City is moving on up with their decision of what they've done as mayor, and that Lori Lightfoot is not going to be a light footprint in Chicago. So we congratulate what Chicago did there.
We want you on the show.
Historic, absolutely, right.
Let's get an interview with you.
That's the end of our headlines, so let's shake that off and let's do something fun by going to I'd Swallow That. And of course, that's our game that we play with original gel shots. And before we begin, let's watch this about original gel shots.
I need a blunt.
Okay, America, we hope you're doing it with us at home. This is fun to play I'd Swallow That. This is an agree or disagree game, and we invite you to play with original gel shots. Of course, we love them. Napoleon will be playing with colored water and shots and
shots.
playing right along with us. And so, everybody knows the rules?
Al, I will do you.
Thank you. Wait.
What?
Wait.
No, he
by
meant
the
it
way,
like
we
he
didn't
said.
make this joke. Carlos is
True.
very, very in love as a Puerto Rican with the pastier, the tastier. Now
That's
you've
why we're
got
sitting where you are,
two
isn't it?
pastiers on both sides of you.
I'm
Or-
in heaven.
You're in heaven. All right. Very
Yes,
good.
absolutely.
I
All right.
thought I'd be okay since Joe's at home.
That's funny.
I don't know
Okay.
that story.
Let's. Oh, it's
That's
a
a
good one.
different Uncle Joe
Yeah,
story.
exactly. Right, exactly. All right, let's play I
Touche.
Swallow That. Question number 1. And if they agree, they're going to pick up their shot and do the shot. If they don't touch their shot. Question number 1. I'd swallow that.
Always.
He's already ready.
I always.
I have lied about something in order to impress someone, and they caught me.
Oh,
Of course.
yeah. I want to.
Have you?
Yeah, I think I might have.
Okay.
I just want a shot.
I want more sugar.
Yeah. Okay.
After that
All
last
right.
segment, I might just agree to that.
Yeah, right.
To get
Question
the
number
shot.
2. I'd swallow that. I believe, now listen carefully, I believe It's Happening Out covers the minority I represent very well. Ooh.
Aaron.
I'm here.
Whoa. Whose fault is it?
Well, we did just have Jussie Smollett as a segment and not the trans woman who was murdered 2 days ago.
But we
So-
did cover her.
And I'm about to be kicked off the
'Cause-
table for another Jew, so.
True.
Sometimes I have to engage in the power of protest just to get
Just
through
to
this
do
show,
it, yeah.
but-
Actually, our celebration
All in all.
of our icon on the road to Stonewall is basically that exact same philosophy. I will protest no matter what, just for the sake of protest.
We're at a new
That's the way
stage.
you
We're living every
In the-
segment.
in the
and
long run,
any
it works
segment.
out.
Yeah,
Don't
right,
fix the
exactly.
shot.
All right,
and then
let's
have
continue.
angry sex.
Yeah, I'd swallow that. Question number 3. I have lied about someone to get them into hot water just because I didn't like them.
Oh, that's awful. Who would do that? You've done that, haven't you?
Here, how many do you want me to
Every time
open?
I think to myself,
I
what
haven't.
decent
Really?
human being would do such a thing?
Okay.
Al, you haven't had one.
Wait.
sure I
I've got
have.
jokes. I've got jokes. Okay. Nobody. All right.
David, I've said
I'd
things to you
swallow
that's
that. Have we ever had a I swallow that question where nobody took a shot?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, we have.
Have we? Okay,
yeah.
I didn't remember
Yeah.
it.
Not if I was on
I'd
panel.
swallow that. Question number 4. I am for Medicare for all. Healthcare for everyone.
What? That
I'm for
are you-
that.
How many can we have?
Well, I'm telling you, we have one cast member, host, that would not take this shot.
We don't know that.
Well, I'm pretty
Well,
sure
let's
I
video
know.
you in.
I'm pretty
Do,
sure I
do,
do.
do,
Yeah.
do,
He's mentioned it.
I was trying to give him the benefit of the doubt,
All right,
y'all.
we'll ask him
Well,
next
that was
week.
your first
He's
mistake.
All
not
right.
responding quickly enough, so.
Are you being a softie now, bitch?
I'm swallowing.
Okay.
I'm like, oh.
All right. Question number 5.
5.
I'd swallow that. The
It's
fear
old.
of getting caught is exciting.
Oh,
that's
hell.
That is a double shot, ladies and gentlemen.
Oh.
But not with a mic on.
Oh, the
It
stories.
is exciting.
Is this like
isn't it?
sex outside or?
I've done that.
Yeah.
On the
Getting
beach.
Wait,
one time-
wait, you haven't.
No, I'll come
Wait,
back
wait,
to
wait.
it. I'll come back
What?
to the show.
Oh.
I got caught one time on the beach and the policeman caught me.
I know all about this.
I know.
Yeah.
Flamingo Park.
Or
And
masturbating
later-
in the back of
no,
the
no,
police
it
car.
was-
This for
oh,
my memory.
you did?
I don't want to know that
Me?
story.
Oh, girl, no.
Oh, I thought you were saying you did that. No. Yeah,
bitch.
all right.
You think I'd
was in the
admit
middle
that?
of Lincoln Road down on South Beach, and then we couldn't get caught because it started to rain and there was no one out, and it was like awesome.
Wow.
In New York City, when they close the parks down at night, there's all sorts of people strolling around. Sometimes cops that just want to meet you and see what might happen.
That's
pull
exactly
out.
right. The
I-
policeman,
Uniforms.
the light.
Oh my
I
God,
was
yes,
like
uniforms.
right completely,
Yes.
and the light right into my eyes.
Oh, yeah.
What else?
He said
The light
seriously,
and what else?
He said yeah, I was totally in the situation, and he said
In the
you need to stand up, and I said I can't.
He was situation.
I did. It was horribly embarrassing, and it worked out great. It worked out great.
did.
All right,
I hope it worked.
Did you protect
I
your
hope it worked very
situation
well.
when you were?
Question 6. We're moving on.
He
now.
hasn't had one shot, mind you.
No. I'm just not playing because of my hand. It's still broken. All right, 6. I'd swallow that. Most nights, I'd rather down a drink than get dicked down.
What?
Most nights, I'd swallow that. I would rather down a drink then get dick.
Right now,
down.
I'd rather buy you grammar lessons.
I mean,
Like,
that's a
Mr. Smart
cop-out,
IQ,
though.
and that's just not going to do.
Of course, you don't want to get dick down.
Josie, here's 7 of them.
Right? I mean, you want to do everybody's shot on that one? Because
All right. That's our game. I'd swallow that. America, you got to play it at home and look at original gel shots. They're
You
really
used
quite
to
good.
only have one
I
left.
You'll watch me all the way through the show.
I almost
I
said
would
if
rather
you don't
get
want to
dick
get dick
down.
down, maybe it's the wrong
Dick
kind
down,
of dick.
baby.
Yeah.
And now I just realized
Down,
what a
down,
terrible
do that
sentence
dick.
that is to say next to a lesbian.
Exactly.
Right.
Right.
Maybe you just
This
haven't
is the
had
first
fun
time,
with
by the
that.
way, first time, Napoleon, that we have played I'd swallow that, where Aaron couldn't say one time that I'm going to do angry sex in some way or another. This is like
Oh,
this is
that
the first
actually,
time.
that's for Shag Marry
I
Child.
think you got it
It's
in.
still coming. All right.
I don't think I've ever even said it. I think everyone else just kind of says it for
No,
me.
you've said it a lot.
Just for the fun.
Let's move on, and we're going to move into our next segment, and it's quite a tough one. So I prepare you for America, for this America, but it's really important. Stay with us. This is really important. As you know, over the last couple of weeks, suicide affected It's Happening Out. And Power is back, and Power can tell you whatever he would like to tell you about that. But it really got us talking about the situation of how suicide affects us, especially in the gay community. And we're going to show you some of the statistics about that. Before we begin, we want to show you a short video about suicide. Watch this.
There is evidence to suggest that there may be an increased risk of suicide in the LGBT population. You know, most people believe that's because of social determinants that go into the kind of assaults that LGBT people live with on a daily basis.
Employment discrimination, discrimination in education, discrimination in healthcare access and public accommodations. And when people have to confront these things on a daily basis, it can make life more difficult. In a pluralistic society like America, which is seen around the world as a beacon of freedom, this is what freedom means. We all want to participate in the American dream, and we should all be allowed to do that. When people live in open and tolerant societies, then they flourish. Where they live in societies where they're seen as lesser than, of course, we're going to find more difficulties in people's lives.
One of the things that sometimes leads to major depression, for some people, it's biology. They come from families that have depression. But even when there's biology, there's a certain kind of psychosocial, environmental aspect of it. If you stress a person with a vulnerability for depression enough, they can get severely depressed and become suicidal.
There's help for these things, that when people are struggling with these things and they're kind of feeling like they're lesser in value and struggling with difficult thoughts, there's help to address that, and we are moving as a society to stop that, and I'm confident that it will stop at some point.
The only weakness when it comes to suicide is silence, period. And as someone who lost somebody to suicide, as somebody who in the aftermath of that tried to kill themselves, I need you to know, it's a cliche, but it does get better.
Well, as you can see, it's a tough subject. I love the soundbite in this little piece that was prepared by It's Happening Out's production, because I think the most important sentence that has been said so far in that piece is the only worst thing that we can do is silence, not to talk about it. And so the events of this last couple of weeks bring us to the ability to talk about it. And I hope valuable, and I hope the voices, there are thousands and thousands and thousands of you that are watching right now, and you can have substantive effect of this conversation that we are having right now. Before we begin, we want to put up a slide that is very important. And in fact, I will tell you, this slide and the lower third slide that you're going to see through our conversation was initiated by Power Infiniti. He sent me a text asking me very politely and kind of sheepishly, would you mind doing this? And I thought, oh my goodness, it is so important. I'm even kind of ashamed that I didn't think of it myself. But we put a slide up in front of you for the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. This number is incredibly important. You should have this phone number in your phone or on a cork board in your home, because you do not realize how many people might be affected. So we talk about suicide broadly and specifically in the gay community. We'll tell you about some statistics in a minute. We begin. Who would like to start?
Oh, I think I'm going to start. So I have been gone for 3 weeks. One of those weeks was because I had a cold, but the last 2 weeks I was absent because my brother committed suicide. Many of you already know this. It's certainly been all over social media. But what people didn't know was people knew that my brother was shot and killed. 2 weeks ago, as I was preparing to get ready to come to Fort Lauderdale for another taping of It's Happening Out, I received a call from my brother's wife telling me that my brother had been shot and killed. At the time, they said they were leaning towards self-inflicted wound, but we're not sure. And a few days later, we found out it was for sure suicide. You know, I feel like, first of all, I would like to thank everybody for their outpouring of love and support. I would like to thank all my cast members and It's Happening Out for all the love and support that you guys showed me, including my former cast members, NapoleonPlays, Raul, CJ, all of which called and reached out to me. I thought that was very kind. But let's talk about suicide itself. My brother committed suicide, I believe, because he was mentally ill. He would not go seek help. He would not go seek treatment. And we saw the signs. Just the mere implication of us trying to tell him maybe he should seek help would throw him into fits of rage. He could go from a very jovial person, the life of the party, to somebody that was an absolute demon. And within the last year, it seemed to spiral more and more out of control. Within the last few months, I kind of feel like if he probably knew that he was going to go, and starting in February, he started to reach out to everybody within our family and started to make amends. Him and I were not on speaking terms for the last year, and he actually called me and asked me for forgiveness. At which point, on that phone conversation, I told him I could not offer him forgiveness, but what I could do was commit to praying about it. And a few weeks after that, I sent him a message and told him, I do forgive you. Our last conversation, though not the best of conversations, I had the opportunity to tell him, I don't like you, but I do love you. And that was our last conversation. He did at that point tell me that he had tried to commit suicide. And I feel that I knew enough that I should take it serious, but I also thought he was being very overdramatic. And I told him, you're being very dramatic right now. And I said, you know, we've all at some point felt like we wanted to kill ourselves, you know. And I urged him to take the medication that was prescribed to him. But the thing about somebody that wants to kill themselves is if they want to kill themselves, if somebody's really determined to kill themselves, they're going to do it. So, you know, the day after he died, Samore, the comedian, queen of comedy, Samore, who is a friend of mine, called me and said to me, you guys have got to prepare for the guilt because you guys are going to feel guilty. She shared with me that her own brother had also committed suicide. And part of the grieving process in a situation like this is that guilt. And I will say that, yes, I am dealing with it because now I'm looking back and I'm saying, is there any more that I could have done? Is there any more that I could have said? Is there any more outreach that I could have given him? You know, I guess we're all going to have to be left wondering that. But he did commit suicide, and I am determined that I will never again take anybody's outcry, outreach, and anybody's attempt to reach out for help or warning lightly. We have the number up right now. It is 1-800-273-TALK. If you feel that you are somebody that is even thinking about committing suicide, is even thinking that it would be better off if you were dead for everybody, let me tell you right now, it would not be. Let me tell you right now, sitting here, remembering this Saturday having to bury my brother and look at him in a coffin after knowing him my entire life as a person full of life and then lying in that coffin, it was not better off for my mother. A mother should never have to bury her child. It was not better off for our family. There's always a way, and there's always somebody that is willing to help. Please feel free to reach out to somebody. Call that number if you need to. And if you know anybody that is considering suicide, considering killing themselves, please share this number with them, and please take them seriously. I would just like to say, and I'm going to wrap this up and be concise. There are 6 reasons that psychiatrists say people commit suicide. One of them is depression. The second is psychosis. The third is an impulsive, which is usually related to drugs or alcohol. The fourth is a cry out for help. And some people don't know how to get it. The fifth is a psychological or a philosophical desire to die. And the sixth are people that have just simply made mistakes. For example, flirting with oxygen deprivation and going too far. And the defense for that is education. So if you know anybody, and I'm sure all of us do, that deal with any type of depression, deal with any type of issues where they feel that there is no way out, please let them know that as hard as life is, and I know that life is can be very, very difficult, but you have to be in such torture if you decide that life is not worth living. Believe me when I tell you that death is so permanent, and it does not just affect you, it affects everybody around you and everybody that loves you. So please, do what you can, reach out to who you can, and if for those of us that are around people that are going through this, please do not make the mistake that I feel I made and take it lightly. Please take it very seriously, because this is a matter, literally, of life and death.
Power, I have to tell you, I'm very moved by your comments. I'm watching the string when you see literally 1,000 hearts that have been communicated. I have to tell you, I hear your regret, but one story that I want to tell that Power would never tell. We have a mutual friend that has been to the show many times. Obviously, I'm not going to talk about who the person is, that expressed to Power just this week, while I believe Power was in Houston for the funeral, and I believe on the funeral day, and expressed similar kinds of feelings about the expression of I'm finished and it's at the end. While Power expresses what he felt about his brother, he had the clarity to express these same thoughts to him. And he checks into rehab, which he is now. It was a very moving moment in hearing this story, and I posted the day before he went into rehab, and I'm just a very, very casual friend, not nearly as close as Power. And I posted in a comment, as he said he was doing this, that Power's words to you were right. So I only share that back to you, of saying, while you feel like what you did, and you have regret, if there is a karma card, I think in that moment you played the karma card. And I just wanted to publicly say that to you. Because he's going to live another 30 days for sure. For sure. Because probably you interceded. And that's the exact point here. That's exactly the point of the slide behind us. Now, broadly, America, this is a very dangerous issue in the gay community. And the reason is because of what gay goes through, especially because of bullying for teenagers. We're showing you a slide now to prove it. In terms of thoughts about suicide, you can see it here. Among boys and girls, gay is twice as likely to think about suicide as their straight counterparts. In attempted suicides, meaning they've actually made the attempt, in some instances, they have a 100% increase of the likelihood of attempting suicide. In a population base that is only 10 to 12% of the straight community alternative. It is, by all means and all standards, an epidemic harm. In gay, young gay America, it is the #1 cause of death. Self-inflicted suicide.
And that's without combining it with those 6 things that Power had said. That if you have problems with other mental disorders, if you have a sense of addiction as a personality, if you are any of those other things, that just compounds to it. My mic is good. But any of those other things compound to these thoughts too. And you have to be aware of what anyone else is going through all the time. I know that I'm bipolar. I've been diagnosed as that for a while. My mom recently went to a childhood friend's wedding, or a funeral, rather. And she came back from that crying, terrified that she was going to have to bury me because I exhibit some of those symptoms. And like you said, it's nowhere near what you went through, but it's about talking and finding other people, and that type of resource that was up a moment ago can really save lives.
Yeah.
We have to be good people to others.
Yeah. Anything else anybody wants to add, or shall we move on? We're ready to move on.
I'd like to say something. Power, and nobody can talk to I don't have a card for this. You're my friend. You're my brister. Nobody can talk to your feelings, your regrets, what you're dealing with right now. But last year, I believe it was a year and a half or so ago, when I was at that last moment brink of committing suicide. There were three people that I was able to speak to.
You?
Yeah, yeah. About a year and a half ago, I was extremely, extremely close to attempting to commit suicide. And there were 3 people who I talked to that really made enough of a difference within that 48-hour period to kind of pull me back from that and make me realize that I needed to stay here. And you were one of those people.
I remember.
So I love you and thank you, and know that you're doing your work.
Yeah.
Love, you're doing everything that you
Yeah, I
can.
remember. And I obviously that was your story to tell. But boy, I'm glad you're here.
Love you.
Yes, that's absolutely
Boy,
true.
I'm glad you're here.
Yeah.
And tune in next time when Kleenex is a sponsor.
I have to say, if I did not know Power's brother, but I cannot imagine if he had the opportunity to watch the last 12 minutes, he wouldn't be very proud of this moment. He would be very proud. Again, we put in front of you the National Suicide Prevention Lifeline. It is a crisis that all of us need to stand up and help. People are in need. 1-800-273-TALK. If you have friends, help them. If you have friends that are in need, help refer them to this hotline. Okay, well, we're going to recover out of this conversation into something a little lighter. And
We get like a 5-minute commercial break.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
Marcy, I need my makeup retouched.
right. We're going to talk about beaches. Let's go to the beach. That'll help us, and other fun things. We have a slide here. A new thing came out about the top 10 gay beaches in the world. And number 10 was here in South Florida. And of course, no surprise of surprise. And number 1 was the Hilton Beach in Israel.
Oh, yeah.
Which is quite amazing. And it got us thinking to talk about beaches. We all like to go to the beach here in South Florida, and it's a lot of fun. So we thought we would do it in a little bit of a different way. We have created this very dynamic and unique relationship between the gay community and the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel here in Wilton Manors and Oakland Park, and in the heart of Fort Lauderdale, the gayest place on planet Earth. And this unique partnership is unique in that our show for the next year is coming from here. We're building a permanent set in the hotel here at the Grand. We're doing a weekly pool party, and we have all kinds of other things that are cool, of course, in addition to our broadcast. So first, before we begin, let us show you a little bit about our new allies here at the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel. Well, we're back, and that's our first show of the Grand Hotel, and we have a special guest with us.
Very special.
Very special.
Yeah.
The general manager here at the Fort Lauderdale Grand.
All right.
Shia Averberg.
Welcome to the madness.
Shia, welcome to the madness, and we welcome you to It's Happening Out. You want to keep your microphone real close to you. I have known Shia now for about 3 months, and we started with this little pool party. It's a small pool party that's done on Sundays here for the gay and straight community, and it's a charity pool party. Lots of charities benefiting from it every single week, 52 weeks a year, charity event here for the gay community. You saw in the commercial summary that we did on the Fort Lauderdale Grand, they're flying the rainbow flag 365 days a year here in this hotel. It tells you everything that you need to know.
Well, they let us in the building.
Yes, and they let us in the building, exactly.
Smart people.
When we came here to look at the possibility of the pool, before I start with Shia, I have to tell you, one of the things that immediately came across was its diversity. They have a trans housekeeping manager. They have a black director of sales. Shia is an Orthodox Jew. And they have a few white people. There's all kinds of people here, and it's absolutely fantastic, the embracement of this hotel's diversity, and we thought these are partners that we can develop a great relationship with. So we welcome Shia to It's Happening Out.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Shia, let's begin. Why this? Why has the hotel started to do this? Tell us about that.
Well, first, welcome back.
Yes, thank
Thank you.
We were here for a while. Yes. Yeah.
Diversity. Diversity is an experience, and having that experience is really what hospitality is all about.
Yeah.
And the best way to tell a story is by the best outreach is in-reach. And the in-reach from the community has been overwhelming. We are the story. Each one of you are the story. Our guests are the story. Our pool party's the story. And watching our guests and their kids and the entire community at large together is exactly that story. So that's what this is all about. It's a hospitality at its finest.
I'm curious why the commitment early on in January when we met and started to become friends, flying the rainbow flag, really independent of us. Why the commitment to do that? Why did you decide to do that?
It was the management, the ownership's commitment to its staff. We had to, back in February when we purchased the hotel, we took upon ourselves not to change up the staff too quickly and rather embrace who they are and what they are, and wanted to see if they would work with us for that change that we were committed to making to the property. And what we noticed first and foremost is that every department in this hotel had members of the community. And we wanted them to feel that they're safe. We're safe here, we're making the changes, and they're positive changes. The area is poised, the community is poised for a regentrification opportunity. And that is the story of the Wilton Manors community, the Oakland Park community, and Fort Lauderdale as a whole. And really, everything is moving towards ground zero right here at this hotel.
Yeah, I completely agree with that. This hotel is, of course, to you around the country that are watching and abroad. First off, you come to South Florida eventually. You come sooner or later. You're going to come here. You're going to go on a cruise.
It's going to get cold.
It's going to get cold. The two busiest cruise ports in the world are within either 10 miles of us or 30 miles of us. So the two largest cruise ports in the world. Some of the most amazing events in the gay community in the world are here. And of course, Wilton Manors, the gayest place on planet Earth. Famous Wilton Drive is 2.2 miles from this location as we speak. So we're right in ground zero of the gay community, and I agree with Shia. Tell us a little bit about what the hotel and employees' embracement of the gay community through this project with its happening. What has it been like?
It's totally been upbeat. It's building the morale that needed to happen here for a long, long time. Maybe we need to take 2 steps back. The 2 steps back is starting, in my experience, back in 1984, and growing up in the hospitality business in South Beach, and watching South Beach transform itself and embrace the community, which really put South Beach on the map. And really, that has overflowed. The wave has continued further north. While it's sounding a little further back south, it hasn't been too much on the upbeat. But it's more of the staff that have embraced and followed it and really make that experience happen. We are only as good as our followers, and our followers then become our leaders.
I have to tell y'all, I don't know if I've shared this story with you. I think I did, but America, certainly I haven't. We were broadcasting because we were in transition of working in terms of we were working on this project that we're getting ready to announce, and we went to Wilton Drive and did some broadcasts, and we've bounced around experimenting in a different way. Really, we only started this first broadcast on September 20th. This is a groundbreaking show in America, and this new relationship with this hotel is a groundbreaking experience. Go to Palm Springs or to West Hollywood or to Provincetown. There's nothing like this, of this media company combining with a hotel to do the kinds of things that we're getting ready to tell you and announcing. We did, how many shows here? Maybe 3?
It was almost 5.
5 shows. Shai knows the exact number. 5 shows. And then we moved on to Wilton Drive. And the first meeting that I came to with all of the department heads and Shia as the general manager, they all expressed in that first meeting disappointment that we made the decision to move the hotel away. To move the show away. And I came back to production and said, wow, the hotel really wants the gay community and the production of the show. And it really made everyone in production connected with the show and the production company going, wait, this relationship is really becoming quite unique and we've got to explore it well. Which brings us to one of the other reasons why Shai is here. We have a unique opportunity in terms of the permanent set is being built and under construction here at the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel. We invite invite people from around America and abroad. When you come to South Florida and you go on one of those cruises out of Port of Miami or Port Everglades, this is where you should stay, because all of your entertainment is either here in this hotel or just within 2 miles. This is the place you should stay in South Florida for gay community and the embracement of events and things that are going on.
I want to interrupt you for
Sure.
1 second. It was Fort Lauderdale's Beach Sebastian. It wasn't 15th in Miami that was in the top 10.
Yeah, okay.
So it was nice to see, like, oh, it's Fort Lauderdale, it's not Miami. So we are
Yes.
moving up to
Yes.
the 954
moving on
area
up.
code.
Exactly. Well, if you look at the website, tell us the Grand's website address.
The Grand's website is Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel.com.
Oh, that's really hard to remember. Fort
Or
Lauderdale Grand Hotel.com.
FLLhotels.com.
You will
Ah,
see
that's
shortly,
a good
there's a
one.
rainbow flag at the top, and it'll have all of the It's Happening Out information and the Happening Out events, the pool party, etc. You'll see it
And
all
look
up there.
forward to our Pride Code for special savings.
Yes,
coming soon.
and Shia beats me to something I would have done anyway. You'll be able to go there, and there's a Pride Code where you get a discount to stay here at the Grand.
I do have a quick
Please.
question for
Yeah.
Shia. First of all, congratulations and thank you for the embracement that you have of our gay community. But a little suggestion, might it be possible in any way, shape, or form, maybe one day, on the first floor of your hotel, it's all cobblestones? For us drag queens,
How did I know?
that doesn't really work out too well.
Oh, no. We embrace all in the community except drag.
We'll have to roll out the red carpet.
All right.
That was the only right answer.
Choosing your hand.
That was the only
So
right
we
answer.
show you our slide about the Grand Hotel, and we continue our tongue-in-cheek reference. It's the Grand Hotel, Fort Lauderdale. Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel is the gayest place on planet Earth. It's sitting in Ground Zero. This is the highest density gay community in America, in fact, in the world. Highest number of percentage of gays living here in South Florida. It's quite amazing, and the hotel is right in dead center from it. Now, we have a big announcement tonight in terms of some of the events. We are working in conjunction with the Fort Lauderdale Grand Hotel to bring all kinds of events here. The hotel will become completely private for these events. All of the guests at the hotel will be for the gay market, and we're going to do all kinds of events. One of the first is happening Labor Day weekend that we affectionately call, and you see the slide here, called PornCon. And it is a convention. And the adult entertainment industry, the gay adult entertainment industry is coming here, and we're going to actually have a con, just like a Comic-Con or a Drag Con, and embrace that. And we have lots of interesting parties and events here that you're going to see just shortly. We are rolling out the website on Friday, and you'll see that as an interesting thing. And then another slide that we have here through all the way to next Memorial Day already. And there's big events coming on, which include a big national bear event, a national leather event. Quite exciting at Halloween, Gay of the Dead. Instead of Dawn of the Dead, or Day of the Dead, it's Gay of the Dead. And we're going to have a Halloween 3-day celebration that will include one of the greatest Halloween events in the world called Wicked Manners. And you get to party in a street festival with 30,000 of the best costume friends you can ever imagine. And then a big, huge Friday event and Saturday event all located here. We are also going to do a very unique drag festival and lots of RuPaul queens. In fact, the largest gathering ever attempted for an event that we love. I just loved the title of this when I saw it, called a wink to performance of Coachella, and also my friend Lady Bunny of Wigstock, and the event is called Wigchella. Here, going to be Thanksgiving weekend.
And none of
here.
the funds will be going to anti-LGBT.
And exactly, and one of the biggest events in 2020 is Fort Lauderdale Pride. Pride Fort Lauderdale is going to morph into April 24th weekend of 2020 to an almost a world pride event called Pride of Americas. that will celebrate North America, Central America, and South America for Pride of America, and this will be ground zero for Pride of America for the entire Western Hemisphere with lots of parties. And when I say parties, interesting. The pool parties, this hotel is going to transition like a gay guest house. And interesting in the gay guest house concept, because the hotel will be private, the pool party, and this is a very large hotel, the pool parties are going to be clothing optional. And all kinds of evening
How many
parties.
rooms again? How many rooms again?
There's a lot. There's a lot of rooms.
6
Right.
rooms.
Yes, right. No. It's not a guest house. Lots of very creative things on these 6 events that are coming, and it's going to be fun. The next year is going to be a lot of fun.
Busy. Yeah, out of this
It's
world.
going to be busy.
It's gonna be neck and
Gay
it's gonna
community,
be.
you're
We
getting
gotta get some
ready
food in here, right?
to be entertained. Exactly right.
We'll talk later.
Shia, last thoughts? Anything else that you want to say about the Fort Lauderdale Grand?
There's a lot to say about the Fort Lauderdale Grand.
Okay.
However, I look forward to continuing this amazing relationship that we've already started.
Yeah.
And it's really grateful to Jew Swap with Napoleon.
Jew Swap. Shia is an Orthodox.
He's coming. Be careful. Bitch, he's like Beetlejuice. You
Yeah.
bump him 3 times, he'll appear.
Shia, wait till the Christmas shows roll around. They're
forget it.
great on the Jews. They're just great.
my God.
Well, that's the one thing we all have in common.
Yes, exactly right. Well, I have to tell you, you're going to see amazing things. The final thing that I want to say, the reason why we wanted to unveil this new relationship in this community, is a permanent television set right in the middle of the hotel. A weekly charity pool party for mostly gay charities, but also straight charities. All of these big events coming, and the show being broadcast live every Wednesday. It is an amazing relationship. And I tell you, America, as you watch this unfold, it has never been done in America before. This is completely unique, and we're all thrilled, Shia, to participate with the Fort Lauderdale Grand in being able to do this. So congratulations to you, and we really look forward to this. Okay, we're going to move on, and of course, we're going to move back in a segment topic about our president. And guess what we're going to talk about? We're going to talk about the border again. Watch what the president's told us about the border this week. Watch.
They have the strongest immigration laws anywhere in the world, and we have the weakest, the most pathetic laws. Number one, Congress has to act, and number two, Mexico, they make so much money from the United States and so many other things, so many other assets, they have to grab it and they have to stop it. And if they don't stop them, we're closing the border. They'll close it, and we'll keep it closed for a long time. I'm not playing games.
Okay, we're closing the border again. We're talking about it. We're showing you a variety of things.
I'm already here, so you missed out on that.
And, well, especially here. And,
Puerto Ricans are citizens. We've been over this already tonight.
Oh, yeah. I keep
Americanos pendejos.
Yes, I keep forgetting that. Right, exactly.
It depends who you ask, apparently.
Exactly.
Are you wearing a yarmulke?
I stole it from my replacement.
Oh, my God. Papa, can you hear me?
We're all the same person.
Exactly.
It's just a thing.
All right. So you see a slide here first of the tweet storm that our president went on to about the closure of the border. And then we make some notes here about him taking action of threatening to completely close the southern border this week. We also show you a slide about Fox News, which we thought was particularly interesting. And look, let's face it, we're gay and it's happening out. At every opportunity that we can make fun of Fox News, we take the opportunity to make Fox News, or make fun of Fox News. And you can see here their scroll about Trump cuts U.S. aid to 3 Mexican countries.
Three Mexican countries.
Right. So we couldn't
Go
hesitate
white people.
to do that. All right. So anything that we want to say about his ongoing escalation of the Trump wall?
Firstly, we always knew that Trump couldn't count. We just didn't realize he couldn't count to 1. Because apparently that's the starting point. He can count up to 3 at least, but incorrectly. I mean, he's not afraid to shut down his businesses. He's not afraid to shut down the government. So why isn't he afraid to shut down physical space? That's honestly the next step in it. I could see him shutting down anything. What I want to see is some capitalist coming on board and making this like a board game, like Don't Wake Daddy, but with a bad Trump little cover, and where you're trying to go around the board, not make him just jump at you, and anything that you do makes the border actually stop, makes it or go back up. It's going to be some competition. I want to see that game. Somebody messaged me about creating it because I want to do that.
I just think it's funny that last week we were going to cut Obamacare, and this week we're just going to close the border, and it's just like everything is so freaking over the top. I'm exhausted. I am exhausted.
Here's the fantastic point that you make. Don't you get the feeling that he is setting up the talking points that he is going to run on the campaign in 2020?
Of course.
If you reelect me,
then I'm
do
something. And meanwhile, I don't have to do anything at all to
He
address the
hasn't done
situation because it'll be, let's just wait and see what he does after the election. We'll just vote for him to see what happens.
He has done things, though. He's continuing to deflect, just like he did in the previous election. When he'd say he did something, it was actually that Hillary Clinton did something. It was his own party. He's calling this a big fat con job when that's what he is. He's a big fat con job.
Allow me to at least take up the point for the president. Joe, please come back. I need you desperately.
First time he's heard that.
I was driving to the Fort Lauderdale airport just 2 days ago, and there's a big banner on I-95 right here in the heart of Wilton Manors. I said banner, I mean billboard. And the billboard is a big giant billboard that says, "Thank you, Mr. President. Basically, you're getting things done." And that's all that's important. There is a huge number of people that do not agree with you. There is a huge number of people that believe.
I think we're getting back into the conversation about agreement. Listen, we don't all have to agree, okay? Newsflash. We do not all have to agree. However, we have to really be able to consider listening to one another to create some sort of solutions and win-win. See, win-win is the new, what is it? The new black? Okay, win-win is the new black, all right? And, what we're doing, you're seeing an administration that continues to come out aggressively, come out in a combative tone, come out in it's going to be my way or the highway, and it's not a very inclusive approach to bringing everyone to the table. What is going to happen now is we're going to continue to get distracted by his tantrums, and I'm over it. Stop feeding this guy any more energy, okay? We have, get active in your hometowns. Get active in your local streets. Get active in your local politics. That's what we can do. And we make sure that our watchdogs are watching and doing them and support organizations who are deep in it. And we have to shift it and break it up.
I want to interrupt you from the standpoint of asking the question, don't you think that President Trump is quite brilliant? Because the recommendation you just made, most people are not going to do. They're not going to elevate their interest to respond. And so really, the president is brilliant because he's wearing you and us and everyone down to the point where likely his chances are growing that he's going to win.
That's been the strategy from the beginning. And let me go ahead and put my chip in. Which, by the way, this says good for one domestic beer. I find that racist. Start there.
That's not going to work for him.
Just
I'm sorry.
I swear to God.
Followed by a Quaalude.
If nothing else, consistent.
Right. Well, wearing us, and speaking of consistency, wearing us down has been the strategy from jump. And I don't mean just with Trump. I mean from the beginning of this country. I'm tired of hearing that's not what this country was built on. This is exactly what this country was built on, okay? Is taking things from other people, taking things that do not belong to you. That is exactly what this country is built on. Not for nothing, but the indigenous Mexican at the table is wondering when y'all are gonna, and I don't mean y'all, I mean y'all are gonna become accountable for the immoral immigration that happened when your border crossed us. Okay, let's start there. Let's start talking about when we're going to shut down that southern border, the one that was completely violated, the one that was completely made up in order to oppress, in order to steal land from people. So let's just start with that. And now as for the 3 Mexican countries, I find it interesting. Yeah, 3 Mexican countries. Right. Yeah, I wore this shirt on purpose. I find it funny or scary ironic how those three countries, El Salvador, Guatemala, and Honduras, are the three countries he is talking about cutting aid to. Those three countries are where the U.S. Intervention caused this entire immigration crisis in the first place. The U.S. funded and backed the civil wars in all three of those countries, had coups where they overthrew elected leadership because they thought they'd be soft on communism or what the fuck ever. And now here we are in a situation where all three of these countries, those civil wars has led to violence, has led to poverty, has led to atrocities that have gone on now for decades. The reason that people are refugees, the reason that people are coming here and trying to escape it, ironically, is because of the same shit that we did to them.
Aaron, I just got a Woody for you.
Yeah.
Just saying.
Okay. All right. Well, the wall is still in front of us, and immigration and border protection and Donald Trump. And I guess it's going to be, unless you're chipping in, it's going to be our life for the next 18 months.
One word, orange.
Okay. All right.
Origin.
Yeah, exactly. All right. I want to play a game. As everyone knows here on the host, Napoleon has forgotten, but I will remind him again. Al knows everything.
I forgot.
So, I like to come to the show every Wednesday and learn something new. Frequently, I do not. But I would like you to tell me something I didn't know. Help educate me. Tell me something I didn't know.
The ego did not lower in the time I was gone. I see that.
Nope.
It got bigger
That's
and
not something he
bigger.
didn't know, though.
Wait. Is this a true drag phrase? Love your hair. Hope you win. Anyway. Tell me something
I'll
I
talk
didn't
about
know.
my hair, Biddy.
Okay. Tell me something.
Did
Anybody?
you know that wind turbines causes cancer?
Oh, God.
And is a graveyard for birds.
Oh.
That's what President Trump said about the windmill.
We're supposed to be talking facts.
Facts
here.
or-
This is
I am
facts.
talking about something.
April
he
Fool's
didn't
Day was
know.
last week.
Yes, exactly.
All right.
I just couldn't. I mean, he's the stupidest.
Yeah, and
person.
Cole is coming
Sorry.
back too.
Tell somebody else. Tell me
Yes,
something
I
didn't
have
know.
something.
Okay.
But this is going to be two tell me somethings I didn't know because I've been gone for 3 weeks. So the first one, this is
Give over your chip.
the first one is for Trump. Puerto Rico is a part of the United States.
Yes, Queen.
Jackass.
Newsflash.
That's the first one. The second one is for all of us, the normal people.
Sure.
Hugh Jackman has confirmed that work has begun on The Greatest Showman 2.
Yay!
Oh, wow.
Yes.
Fabulous.
And he guest stars as Wolverine. Oh my God.
Somebody else.
I would
I
watch
didn't
that,
know that.
strangely
Actually,
enough.
I did not know that.
Yes.
And that's wonderful news. Tell me, speaking of movies, Avengers Endgame, it crashed America basically this week. I predict right now it's going to be the biggest selling movie in history.
That doesn't
Not
take
over
much to
budget.
know.
I
By
cannot
far.
wait to
I
see
can't
it.
wait.
I didn't
You're
realize
seeing
it
it
was
18
Somebody,
You think it's going to be
somebody
bigger than Dumbo?
Yeah.
Oh my God!
Somebody tell me something
wanna
I
go
didn't
see
know.
it?
All right.
See
All
those
right,
things.
so I'm the chef here, and I'm pretty sure.
Oh my God, don't talk about cooking,
Been
Dumbo.
around the world, and you've probably tried many different cuisines and many different delicacies around the world.
147 countries.
That's right. That's right. Well, do you know that this might seem like something right up your alley? There's a delicacy called milt. Are you familiar with it?
Clearly not enough countries.
Boom, shakalaka.
Well, you know,
Milt.
next time.
How many countries? Now?
292 on 8 planets.
Next time when you find yourself in Norwegian.
I've been to Norway many times.
Go on
I've
their
stayed in the
airlines.
ice
They're
hotel
gay
up on the
friendly
Arctic
now.
Circle.
This would be, maybe we need to get a flight. Let's call Anders.
Wait, you're going to see something interesting.
That's
right?
it, guys.
Yeah. Okay.
And we're gonna go try this delicacy, and it's called milt, and it's
Is it a
actually fish sperm. I thought it would be
Oh.
appropriate.
Girl eats a lot of sperm.
Oh, my.
Are you sure you haven't heard of it?
Swallow
Maybe you have had it
this?
before.
I don't know.
Wait, did you see Anders? I might consider it. Somebody else?
New meme.
Anybody else?
All right, I'll tell you something. I'm going to sound militant, but that's okay.
Ooh, Aaron.
So, did you know that this whole threat and worry of mass deportation of Mexican people is not the first time that the U.S. has done this? The Mexican repatriation was a mass deportation of between 400,000 and 2 million Mexicans and Mexican Americans from the U.S. between 1929 and 1936. About 60% of those people were birthright citizens.
Oh.
Al, you don't remember this?
Good job. Excuse me.
I'm just saying.
Weren't you
rounding up Mexicans during that time?
I'll use an old biddy.
I'm sorry, what did you say, Napoleon?
Well,
anybody else?
Yes. So tell you something you didn't know. One of New York's leading off-Broadway companies, MCC, has its annual Miscast Gala. It's once a year, and it's where Broadway's hottest stars perform songs from roles in which they would never be cast. So a lot of them are gender-bending, but others are by different ethnicities or just... it's had a lot.
Oh, that's so cool.
It's really cool. They have a lot of them. My favorite one from this past week were the Plastics from the Mean Girls, and they performed as the Four Seasons in a Jersey Boys medley. And I was just like, yes, Karen.
That's
I want
super gay. That is super gay.
It was super gay and super exciting. Oh my God.
It's like exponentially gay.
Is anybody else thinking, since Napoleon was on the show last, he's buffed up a little?
Yeah, he's looking like rough trade.
And he's looking very nice. He's looking like rough trade with that haircut. Probably what he's been doing since he's been away from the show. And but I can't help
with anyone but
America.
Al.
I remind you,
he could give me a shanking.
So what do you think, America? Do I look better like this?
My point was, he's really a geek at heart, which is what you're hearing here. All right. Thank you. I think that was a pretty good. Tell me something I didn't know. Several things that I didn't know. We want to move on to the diversity honors, and the National Diversity Honors were over the weekend. And my friend. Oh, wait.
That was awesome.
Josie and I were hosts, and let us show you a little bit at Diversity Honors. Watch closely, because this is very interesting.
Hey, welcome. It's so good to see you all here.
What an amazing, it's absolutely fabulous. Tell us a little bit about Pride Center first.
Well, the Pride Center at Equality Park, we just celebrated our 25th anniversary. We have a 5.5-acre campus right in the heart of Wilton Manors. This collaboration, this is our 5th year of having Diversity Honors, and it's a great collaboration with the Harvey Milk Foundation because they do international advocacy and equality work. And then we have our services that we provide in South Florida. And so Stuart Milk actually lives in Wilton Manors. And so we came together, and the Hard Rock has been a presenting sponsor for the last 5 years, and they do a phenomenal job. They have wanted to make and give back to the LGBT community, and so this is one of their many ways that they invest in our community.
I think this is a great event that the Pride Center puts on. Brings out a lot of people. It brings out all the groups that we have in South Florida, and it gives people a lot of recognition and a lot of pride.
What would Harvey Milk say if he walked through this and saw this today?
Well, he would say, my message of you have to come out, that our invisibility was what was holding us back. This is his dream coming true. This is the reason that he took those bullets. The reason that he faced the death threats and the hate mails, because we are manifesting my uncle's dream today by being out and proud, having our allies, but more importantly, that we are here proclaiming who we are and standing up for our community that's being attacked right now, like the trans ban, saying, you know what, we're not going to go back in the closet, and we're not going to let anyone else go back in the closet either.
Well, congratulations on Diversity Honors and everything you do, and we're really happy to be here.
Part of this this year. You're a great show. I hope to be back on it soon.
Absolutely.
Well, Diversity Honors is one of the premier opportunities for us to honor and acknowledge and highlight the work of people who have promoted diversity through thick and thin, in good times and when it's been not so easy. And so the honorees tonight all fall into that category. We're especially excited to be able to honor the Pride Center in Wilton Manors, but I'm thrilled to be able to be here and make sure that we can continue to promote the critical diversity that is absolutely essential to equality across our country.
So specifically today, we actually have the very first flight with a Boeing 787 Dreamliner with the Harvey Milk as a tailfin hero.
Wait. Norwegian.
Yes.
The Norwegian air carrier is introducing a Dreamliner that has a wrap exterior on the plane of Harvey Milk.
That's correct. So we we have about 100 tailfin heroes across the fleet. This is our 8th American tailfin hero and our 4th openly LGBT tailfin hero.
Well, this is a great community event that builds bridges and reminds us all that, you know, who we are and who we love and what we're all about as a community is important to embrace. The Pride Center, the Harvey Milk Foundation are powerful organizations both locally and throughout the nation.
So SAVE is the longest serving LGBT rights organization in the state of Florida. We were born out of the need to establish a human rights ordinance initially in Miami-Dade County, and since then we were the ones that, along with the ACLU of Florida, sued the state and made marriage a reality here. We're also big proponents for transgender rights. A lot of the work that we do, not only locally but also in Tallahassee, is focused on transgender rights as well. So really, LGBT rights are where our heart is. We do advocacy and political work. We also help people get elected into public office at all levels of government. So we are the political voice of the LGBT community here in Florida.
Promoting our equality, promoting our diversity, and how we all are supposed to be together as one community is key, and that's part of what this is all about.
Well, what an amazing event it was. I'm watching the string, by the way, thousands and thousands of you in string commenting and posting and hearts and thumbs up, etc. Mike Brook, my friend in Orlando, has basically just said that the Ringling Museum, the Circus Museum in Sarasota, wants their suit back, talking about what he just watched. And Mike will talk personally right after the show. Josie, tell us about your experience.
Yeah,
what
well,
you thought.
you know, this was the first time I've ever attended the Diversity Honors Gala. And for me, you know, I'm going to just admit, I wasn't familiar with the work that and what we were celebrating, honestly. And I did some research, and I realized, I learned that this gala is put together to celebrate the LGBT leaders in our community, living authentic and conscious lives and being a contribution to our community and making other communities stronger and empowering them. So to be there, I was like, of course I got invited. But I mean, that's where I am at this point. And then, you know, we're sitting there and we have the honor of really talking to some of the honorees, and they visited our little carpet there as they went in, and that was amazing to experience. Just get that close. You know, I play with politics, but to be there talking to Debbie Wasserman and understanding what she has experienced through politics and understanding her journey and her standing there as boldly and as powerfully as she did was inspiring. Listening to Meghan McCain joke about, of course, we don't have the same political views, but there was a humanity that her father stood for, and where she stood with that and was inspired by her dad. And it spoke to family, it spoke to community. It was just a really inspiring night. Thank you very much for inviting me.
And you did a great job.
Okay, wonderful. And we got to see, you know, our mayor and yeah, just everyone who was there. You guys know who you are. I mean, it was just a who's who of the LGBT community, and personalities, politicians, teachers, community leaders. And I mean, this is the gala you guys want to be at next year. And maybe you can buy your tickets now, but all the monies go to these types of activities and
specifically the fundraising event for the National Diversity Honors benefits directly to major organizations, and that is the Harvey Milk Foundation and the Pride Center at Equality Equality Park here in South Florida in Wilton Manors. We congratulate everybody associated with the National Diversity Honors. We were honored ourselves to be part of it and the entire show to be a part of it, and we look forward to 2020 and continuing to support your efforts for equality and recognition.
Yeah, literally every aspect of it is done by someone that is an LGBT business owner.
Right. All right. Let's, speaking of equality celebrations, let's move on to our segment that we call On the Road to Stonewall. As you know, June 30th at World Pride in New York City, the 50th anniversary of the gay civil rights movement will take place of the celebration of Stonewall. This year, this is a very important sentinel moment. Everything that's going on in our world, Stonewall seems to be something grounding for us for our civil rights efforts. And each week we celebrate a gay icon. This week we celebrate Barbara Giddings. Now this is something you may not be as familiar with, and so we bring that to your attention. I think this is going to be an interesting one. So to begin, let's watch this about our gay icon on the March to Stonewall, Barbara Giddings.
It's a wonderful feeling to be here and to be out facing the public for the first time. We were the first to do this in an organized fashion, to stand up for ourselves. We believed, well, let me put it this way. We were considered weird and sick and perverted and just plain wrong. Even most of the good straight citizens of this country had been brainwashed into thinking that we were that way. And we felt, no, we are not perverted, we're not sick, we're not weird, and we are not wrong. We are right, and the world is wrong. We had a dress code and we had a conduct code for the picketing demonstrations, and they were very sedate. And it's easy today, 35 years later, to laugh at the rules that we had at the time and make fun of them. But I've strongly supported them at the time.
My people is something that has been a real guiding notion in my own life in the movement. Now, I'm by temperament a joiner. I like to get into organizations and do things, and if the gay movement had not come along, I would probably be active in the conservation movement today. And let's face it, the gay movement's a lot more fun. But I heard about the gay movement by reading what was a very seminal book of the time, The Homosexual in America, A Subjective Approach, by Donald Webster Corey, and I was fascinated by the idea that a book on the subject could be published, a book by a homosexual. I contacted the author, who lived in New York City, and he told me about the newly formed Mattachine Society. So I had the usual 2 weeks vacation, and for the first time in my life, I bought a plane ticket and went up in the air and went to the West Coast and landed in the offices of one of the gay organizations in Los Angeles with a rucksack on my back, and I said, well, here I am. Let's see, I got into the movement in 1958. I've been in the movement for 25 years now, and I don't think I really got a strong, coherent philosophy until the beginning of the 1960s, when, as John D'Amelio has pointed out, there was a distinct change in the temper and tempo of our own movement, sparked in large measure by the advances of the Black Civil Rights Movement. Right. It was sponsored by a group of gay organizations on the East Coast, and it was done as what we call the annual Reminder Day on Independence Day, July 4th, to remind the public that there is still a significant minority of Americans who do not benefit from the rights to life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness that are guaranteed us. There I am handing out leaflets, and the drill was you smile and you smile and you hand out to everyone, whether they take it or not. So there I am handing out leaflets. Were you scared? Oh, yes. It was, there were very few people who really felt comfortable about being in one of these demonstrations, because you just didn't know what the consequences could be, whether you might lose your job because your employer saw you on a television news clip, or somebody saw you in the street. If you could believe that the very first gay pickets had maybe 10, 15, at the most 20 people who could afford to get up in public and do this.
It's Happening Out is celebrating our Stonewall celebration, our civil rights, and the road to Stonewall. We're all very proud of. And tonight, again, Barbara Giddings. Interesting, and the value, I think, of this segment is that when we started to talk about it, virtually no one in our production center knew who Barbara Giddings was. And the National Gay and Lesbian Task Force is right in our own backyard here in South Florida, and we did not know she was the founder. I'm sure somebody's going to talk about that. As we do the Road to Stonewall each week and celebrate a gay icon, each of our hosts basically do their own research of something that they think is really interesting about our gay icon and tells you about something that they say. Tonight is no different. We'll do that again. So let's begin with Power.
Well, she was known as the mother of the LGBT civil rights movement. And Barbara Giddings once said, "Watch the homosexual, what the homosexual wants, and here he is neither willing to compromise nor morally equivalent to compromise is acceptance of homosexuality as a way of life fully on par with heterosexuality."
Okay, and Aaron?
I loved the story of Barbara Giddings because she was an activist who would not take no for an answer. And she was often criticized by much of the gay community as being too militant, even by the leadership of the lesbian organization that she helped build. And I can relate. She believed in the power of protest and public visibility to push important conversations in places that otherwise would not listen. So thank you, Barbara, for that.
Aaron, you were telling me that this quotation also stuck out to you from Giddings. "Putting a label on myself was a big step forward. Once I said, yes, that's me, that's what I am, I was able to work with it."
And Josie?
In 1973, Barbara co-founded the National Gay Task Force, which is now known as the LGBTQ Task Force, which is located in here in Miami. And no changes in laws and public policy would be complete without attention to the task force history. Barbara Giddings said, "I've had the satisfaction of working with other gay people all across the country to get the bigots off our backs, to oil the closet door hinges, to change prejudiced hearts and minds, and to show that gay love is good for us and the rest of the world too."
Oh, that's an awesome
Amen. Well, in 1970, Giddings worked for many decades to have homosexuality declassified as a mental disorder. I think that was just amazing. And she said, "Equality means more than passing laws. The struggle is really won in the hearts and minds of the community where it really counts."
Nice. America, Barbara Giddings is our celebration tonight as a gay icon on our road to Stonewall. This is a very, very important segment that we're very proud to be associated with. We have been doing the Road to Stonewall now and celebrating. Just tell me, just the name. Just tell me your favorite gay icon that we've done in Stonewall. So, Cher.
Bayard Rustin.
Tell me anybody else want to say in terms of favorite?
I'll say, hey, you skipped over me. Here's my chip. Did you forget how to count too? Maybe you and Trump have a lot in common.
Okay.
Okay, so one of my favorite accomplishments by her, in October 1st of 2012, she was inducted into the Legacy Walk, which is essentially like the Hollywood Walk of Stars, in an outdoor public display, and it is that display of LGBTQ people. It's a huge moment, and it means a lot to have her there. And just to add another one in, she was also one of the people to help advocate that lesbians and gays fight together for their rights in that struggle rather than trying to do separate fights. And that she found they can only be successful with both genders in mind. One of my quotations from her is that equal treatment, no more, no less, is what we want. And compassion, which many homosexuals gladly swallow because they think it represents an improvement in attitudes toward them, is not equal treatment.
Powerful. The point that I make about Barbara Giddings that we celebrate tonight and this entire segment is we're in the home stretch. We're in the home stretch of our celebration of 50 years of the March to Equality in the gay community, our civil rights efforts. We have been doing the Road to Stonewall for approximately 4 months now. This is the first days of April. We have 3 months to go. We invite you, America, to suggest who you would like to see in our last 3 months celebrated as the gay icons in our road to Stonewall, our march to June 30.
Because they're tired of hearing my suggestions, trust me.
No, they're all welcome, honestly. So suggest and send an email to It's Happening Out or communicate to one of the hosts in their social media feeds. And we'd like to hear from you. It's a very important thing. And we are going to celebrate our March to Stonewall all the way to June 30th. We're going to finish the show tonight with a game that we have become very passionate about. And it almost sent Power to jail, and we made a few tweaks, whichever, called Shag, Marry, Chop. And everybody knows how the game plays. We hope at watching at home, a large number of you are watching at home, you'll play along with us. You choose who you would shag, who you would marry, and who you would chop. In that order, please. Try to remember the order that we play the game. So that's what we're going to do. And before we...
That was a read.
It was a read. Thank you. It was a read. Let's play Shag, Marry, Chop. Game number 1. Let's look at the RuPaul judges. RuPaul's Drag Race.
Oh, God.
Lucian Payne, Adam Lambert, or Travis Wall. All judged RuPaul's Drag Race Emmy Award-winning show in 2018, and best host RuPaul.
Okay.
Who would like to start?
I'm going to start. I would shag Adam Lambert because of that voice. Jeez. I would marry Lucian because I just love the music that he creates, and it's always just touching me in the right places, and hopefully he would too. And then I would chop Travis Wall. I don't really know who he is, so I guess
he's a dancer.
He's got
like amazing.
He's got to go.
All right, somebody else.
All right, I am going to. Sorry,
Go
this
ahead.
is too exciting for me.
Yeah, please take it.
Squirming in my seat.
Which tasty white boy are you going to?
Well, Travis Wall there's a lot of ego there, so I'm gonna I was gonna say the F word, but I'm gonna shag him.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna marry Lucian Payne, and then I hate to
Adam
chop
Lambert's gonna
Adam
be
Lambert.
chopped.
Yeah,
Okay.
he has
All
better hair than me.
Okay.
So he has to go.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and shag Travis. I mean, you know,
Right?
he's a dancer.
Yeah.
I mean, hello.
Flexibility.
Always go for flexibility.
I was thinking endurance. Anyway,
I was thinking spread.
Singers have really strong endurance too. I promise.
Sure.
They got those lungs.
and then I'd marry Adam because I want that rock and roll lifestyle. And Lucian, you know, I mean,
But
I
look
like
at
you,
those
but
blue
I had to
eyes.
choose.
Oh.
And a little bow tie.
He's a little too
You're wearing a
sweet
bow
for
tie.
me. He's
Perfect
too
to
sweet for me.
marry.
I know we would clash.
Mary.
I don't
All right.
think both people can wear bow ties. You know.
Yeah, that's a thing. It's a law, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm going to say I would shag. I've already got flexibility and endurance, first of all, and a rock and roll lifestyle.
Mic drop.
So
Name drop.
I'm going to
We're
shag
done.
Adam Lambert because it would be a power struggle and a half, and that sounds fun. I'm going to marry the dancer because he looks,
Travis.
a little brooding. And I'm going to chop Lucian. I don't know who he is.
Okay. All right.
What?
I know.
We'll talk.
I know.
I'm sure we will.
Power.
I'm gonna shag Adam Lambert.
Why?
Why not?
Just because he looks like he'd be
Trade.
a fun one-night stand.
Oh.
I'm definitely gonna marry Travis Wall because A, I've always thought he was fine as hell, and B, as a performer, I know that he'd be there to choreograph all my shows.
Oh
I've got Lucian all
So
to
the
myself.
marriage is
Thank
still
you.
all
panel.
about you.
Yes.
No, I'm marrying him.
And I'm gonna
then
be
you'll be
I'm gonna
chopped.
be very unselfish and leave Lucian all to Napoleon.
Yeah.
So-
I'm all for you,
I'm
Napoleon.
curious.
You have softened
Power,
up since
honestly,
you've been
I'm
gone.
curious.
I don't want him. That's
What
just
is what does your husband think about you playing Shag, Marry, Chop? Has he ever said anything to you about any of your choices or anything?
Absolutely not.
No?
No.
Just totally ignores
No.
it.
Chop, please.
I don't know. You used to always choose the redheads for that reason,
All right.
if I recall.
All right, let's go on to game 2. Now, wait, before we show the slide, if possible. Oh, no.
No,
Wait,
too
we're
late.
showing it.
Oh,
Oh,
Miss
God.
Oh
Payne.
God!
Everybody,
Really?
America, every week when we play Shag, Marry, Chop, one of these queens eventually says, money, 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 money. I would go for the money. So we
that's
put
the
all the money in front of you. They're all billionaires.
I thought it
So,
was just all the guys who have had dick pic scandals.
Shag, Marry, Chop, Jeff Bezos, Mark Zuckerberg, or
Okay,
Bill
I'm in.
Gates.
I'm in on
You're
this one.
All
I'm
right,
in.
go.
Okay.
Which billionaire? We almost put Trump in, but then we said, oh no, you
He's
can't
not
do
a
that.
billionaire.
Right.
I'm totally shagging Bill Gates. I don't care what anyone says. I'm shagging Bill Gates, okay?
Really? Why?
Because, come on, I know that guy's the freakiest of them all. Right?
Look at
Give
the
me a
smile, you
break.
get freak.
Right.
Okay? I mean, look at him. He has not a care in the world. You know what I mean?
Zuckerberg has a secret. You can tell in that photo.
And so you know what? I'm gonna marry Mark because whatever he needs some help with Facebook, and I could definitely point him in the right direction.
Oh wait,
and I
production. Wait, hold on. Production just told me we just went down on Facebook.
And I have to chop Jeff. I know you have a lot of money, but you seem to be like surrounded by scandal. And girl, my life is scandalous enough as it is.
All right. Somebody else.
I'll go next.
All
Okay,
right,
so
Napoleon.
I want to marry the one that has the most money and is going to die soon. So I think that's probably
Shag first.
Oh,
please.
I'm sorry. Shag Mark Zuckerberg, because I feel like I could convince him to maybe make it longer, get some
the
donations.
goofiest looking guy.
Yeah, he
He has
is.
no
He is the
eyebrows.
goofiest looking guy.
Goofy.
But I feel like he's the youngest, therefore he has the most to
But
prove.
he's smart. Oh,
He has to prove himself. He's not just a brain.
Smart. Oh, I hate it.
Shag is first. Marry, then I'll marry Bill Gates because I think he has the most money and is going to die soon. So we'll cut back to that. Inheritance.
Wait, didn't he
Inheritance
die?
comes.
Okay.
He's not dead.
No. Bill Gates dead?
You see how much I keep up with billionaires?
Not yet.
Wasn't one of those billionaire white guys? Never
Probably
mind.
a lot of them
not
died.
these three.
Many billionaire white guys died. Anyway, and then I will chop Jeff Bezos because I mean the other two are already taken.
I'm going next.
All right.
Okay, so I would shag Jeff Bezos because that bitch don't play. He's getting everybody together. Saudi Arabia, Trump.
Oh, international
this,
orgy.
that, this one and the other. He don't play. So he looked like a good night in bed. I would marry Mark Zuckerberg because he always has me in Facebook jail. So.
Their get out of jail free card.
Like I am now.
One boy you marry because he's going to choreography or he's going to do he's going to choreograph you, and the other one's going to keep your social media running.
So I can
and
say
that's
what
why
the
you
fuck I
marry?
want to say
Oh
and not
my
have to worry about the
gosh.
clink. And Bill Gates, he gets the chop.
He's the chop. Okay.
I'm
And
with you.
anybody else?
I'm with you, Chef Josie. I think that Bill Gates has got the freaky streak in him. So I'm gonna shag Bill Gates. I'm gonna marry Jeff Bezos because I don't think Facebook's gonna last that much longer. And I'm gonna chop
Okay.
Facebook.
Have I got everybody?
Zuckerberg.
No,
Yeah, all
I'm
right.
just uninspired.
I'm zucking
Okay.
Zuck.
No. You got to play. Choose.
All right.
Shag.
Shag.
Isn't
Mark.
this your type?
No. No.
Yeah, pasty. You were
Shark,
suggesting it earlier.
Mark, Shag, Mary, Bill, and Chop. Basically.
Pasty.
By the way, comments. Oh well, it's fine. All right, let's move on to slide number 3. Our game is Saved by the Bell. I love this one.
Oh.
We are going to choose, and we're showing you both of them.
Look at
Oh my God.
Dustin.
Yeah, and we're going to talk about Dustin in a moment.
That
Saved by the
is
Bell.
giving me life.
Mark Paul, or Mario, or Dustin. Now you
I'm
see
gonna
him
go
on
first.
the show. Now wait, I got to tell you something. Of course, in case you don't know, Mario has gone on to quite great success. Mark Paul, so success. Dustin might be appearing at PornCon.
Are you shitting me?
No. He does porn.
What he does.
That's
what he does.
way.
And wait. You say that. I have to
nose.
tell you that Dustin could compete with Antonio.
Whoa!
And one more thing, he might be the first person to punch Trump in the face. Also,
Right,
so there you go with
okay.
that.
All right, I just give you a little information before you make your choices, so you're informed.
Well, I was already.
I said I was
shagging
going
Dustin.
first.
Howard
girl.
going first.
Oh, okay, girl.
Step back, honey. Let me get to Dustin.
Yeah,
Bitch is
yeah.
back. The bitch is back.
Step back,
Hold
honey.
on.
Let me get to Dustin, honey. I already knew the T on him. That's why that's why I said I want to go first to get me that shag of Dustin Diamond because I heard
that's funny.
Dustin don't motherfucking play.
I have not seen you this excited for anything.
By the way,
in a long
America, I
time.
told you we're a gay show. We're gay. Okay.
Wait.
I would marry Mario because he has sexy legs, and I have not heard hide nor hear really from Mark Paul, whatever his name is, since he left the show. He's really not doing too much, so no, he gets the job.
He gets a little
I
tired.
love me a big honker, like big nose. So definitely.
Oh,
Shag,
honker.
Dustin. Is that how you say
Really?
it?
I don't know. You're a
You're
big
Shag
hunker. I'm like
on
his
him?
dick, his
Like,
dick, his
is
dick.
that how you
Big
say
thing,
it?
honker.
Honker. English is my second language.
Believe me, I know that.
Okay,
The rest
you
of us
say
are-
Alejandro Ocasio-Cortez, pendejo, y te
Okay.
meto en la cara aquí mismo, cabrón.
Oh, see.
Anyway.
That's how we say it.
The rest of us
I would
He's from
shag-
Mexico 7.
I would shag Dustin.
Puerto Rico.
I would marry Mark. And Mario, he's too cute for me. Those dimples, it's just
He's not pasty enough.
No, it's really not.
Somebody else?
Yeah, I'm shagging Dustin. I knew that from the because he's grown into like a bear. It's cute. You're chopped. I'm marrying Mark because he looks cute and nice.
Right?
And if he's not up to anything, he won't have the ego that
Mario, right? Yes.
I can't do egos.
Okay, I'm gonna shag Mark Paul because guys who get rejected a lot got something to prove, and judging by this table, he's got something to prove. I'm gonna marry Mario Lopez. I feel like we'd be a power couple. And I'm gonna chop Dustin just because please, I'll be my own porn star. I don't need all that.
Okay, all right.
So I'm last at this one, and there was a quick story. Al once asked me if it were my last day on Earth, who would be the people? What would I want to do? And I said I'd want an orgy with famous people. And the first person that I thought of with that was Mario Lopez. So you remember that?
Yeah.
It was a full actual thing.
Absolutely.
So I am gonna say I would marry Mario Lopez. We'd have lots of wrestler fantasies. He seems like a sweet guy, and I think he's the prettiest as well. Mark Paul Gosselaar would be one shag. I'm going out of order, I think. So one shag for Mark Paul Gosselaar. Maybe he can actually freeze time like his character. And then Dustin Diamond just seems like a little turd. So I don't have any time for that. I don't care how long it is. It seems like it's also kind of bent. So for me,
Don't knock a bent one.
For me,
Bitch, his character.
for me,
Best character.
for me, a pretty penis is better than a big penis, and I am gonna say chops to Dustin Diamond. Bye-bye.
You know, that's
think they're
true.
talking about
Napoleon has
something
told
they
me this
know.
all the time. I've heard this from him repeatedly. He talks about pretty penis. And anytime I hear the phrase pretty penis, I think of Napoleon. Not because he has a pretty penis.
I mean, I understand.
But because he talks about it all the time. Right.
I promise you, America, he won't ever get to see it.
Yes, and nor does he want to either. All right, so that's our game, Shag, Marry, Chop, and we hope you play. You play at home and play along with us. We're going to
play
do
with
one
them.
more game. One more game. Let's play this or that as we finish the show. Real quick game of this or that. You must choose this or that, and please start by saying this or that. Everybody knows how we play it? Let's go. This or that. First question. At the end of the day, I want to be able to say this, I live harder, or that, I live longer. Now, I think there's a joke in those two choices. I live longer.
This, I lived harder.
Harder?
This, I lived harder. I want to slide into home base. Yeah,
Okay.
absolutely.
This, I live harder.
Harder?
That, I live longer.
Longer?
Yeah.
Okay.
I've been living pretty hard for a while now, so maybe temporarily. I'm going to say this: a little longevity will help a long way.
Okay. All right. Great. Question number 2. If it was a matter of life or death, I would this: save a bus full of school children,
We know
or
Aaron's choice.
that save myself.
I know what you're doing.
Save the bus children. Are
Nope.
you kidding me? Well, that's definitely what my wife would do.
How are you going to save them if you're dead?
Well, I mean,
That's a technical answer.
yeah, I
Save
get
the
it.
bus full of children or save yourself.
Yeah,
Some charms
this
to
or
deliver
that.
here.
That's a trap.
It is a trap.
That's
That's
a
what this or
major
that.
trap.
This
with,
or that.
With the behavior that kids have today, no, I'm saving myself. That.
Thank you for doing that so I could say it. Not look like an asshole.
So you're that
Aaron.
saving.
Yeah, I mean, which children are on this bus? Is this like an elite prep school bus? Or is this like,
It's some of
going
those-
to...
Don Jr.
It's some of those-
Junior Ivanka.
It's some of those children that got into those elite schools by paying $500 in the education.
Or it's the kid that has a kidney that you're eventually going to need.
Yeah, okay, all right. Final question, this or that.
Oh, I would also
Question
choose
number-
me, by the way, because that's more important to me.
Okay, question number 3. I have our friend Napoleon Plays on the show tonight.
Am I?
Do you?
Yes, you're my friend. You knew that.
Oh, I just didn't notice he was on the show.
Both of those things.
Whoa! Whoa!
You heard it here, America.
Damn.
All right.
Okay, the Jews are often the forgotten people of our time.
Exactly. All right. So, I poke at Napoleon in various different ways on various different subjects, but there's one subject I always seem to come back to. So let's play a little this or that. This or that. Question number 3. Who is the better singer? Now, honesty here. Better singer. Let's choose who we like more. This, Ariana Grande, who, by the way, lives 18 minutes from this studio right now at the Grand Hotel. Who is the better singer? This, Ariana Grande, or that, Henry Cavill?
Oh, God.
Now,
I'll tell you one thing.
We're going to stay with Napoleon last. Who's this or that, please?
That Henry Cavill. I didn't even know he was a singer, but I'll choose him over
He's
Ariana Grande.
not a singer.
Well, then I still choose him over Ariana Grande.
Who do you want to be serenading you?
Okay.
Ariana Grande or Henry Cavill?
Okay.
For
Only one choice.
once,
Oh, my God.
For once.
This is going to blow up in my face.
we're going to give Henry Cavill a
Oh,
win.
my gosh.
So I'm going to choose Henry
My
Cavill.
friends are turning against me as we speak.
Judges, who
They
do you
missed
give
me,
your
darling.
scores to?
So far, it's 2 for Cavill. Cavill has lost every this and that in the history of It's Happening
But
Out.
never
What
my
are
heart.
you choosing?
Throw Napoleon a bone.
Listen, okay.
A Cavill bone.
Is that what we're
Please
doing? You
Throw
see,
Napoleon a
no,
Cavill
that's
bone,
what we were
please.
doing.
Please
Because
don't.
I was like gonna be like winking at Ariana. She lives like what did you say? 18 minutes.
That's very lesbianic of
Please.
you.
I know. I'm the
Your
lesbian
choice
on the
is
show.
Ariana Grande
Oh, yeah.
or Henry Cavill. Which one?
Is that the same guy you were talking? I'll go with Henry
Superman.
Cavill.
Yeah! Yeah, come on.
And I'm
Come
gonna
on.
put this little hat on. Papa, can you hear me? And Henry Cavill.
Yay! Yay! So, of course,
So
everyone
cool.
knows my answer.
Wait.
Ariana
I hope
Grande.
the camera will come in closely as the tear comes right down my
You know
cheek.
You
got
walked
those-
right into that.
You got those
one.
tear
You
ducts taken
walked.
out
Not
many
how
years ago.
I thought the goddamn game was going to go.
This man cannot cry. We all know it. So,
What's your choice?
I am going to choose the one that I would want to wake up next to singing. I don't care if it's horrible. I don't care if it's grandiose. I do care that it's not grande. And I'm going to choose.
You want Grande.
No, I want it to be grand, and I want to smell him, and I want to just
Can I
lick
change
his
my
face.
answer?
No. We locked in.
See, you
locked
bitches?
in.
This is
Henry
why.
Cavill, I would happily wake up to you,
my
especially
God.
if Josie's going to throw me a bone. Oh, I'm just getting so excited.
Look at you're blushing.
I hope I could
Here,
be. I
put
was.
this
And,
on
if
again.
thi- and if this show was an April 1st, we could have all just said April Fool.
Exactly right. Okay.
But it's
All right.
not. Henry Cavill
Well,
finally wins.
all right. Finally, he wins
Yay.
a game of this or that on It's Happening Out.
I'm sure he thanks
And
us.
I guess it is part of the celebration of Napoleon being a guest host tonight. at
Don't
It's
say we
Happening
never
Out.
gave you anything.
So we welcome you
It'll be
as
the
the
last
guest
time.
host tonight. All right, so that wraps up our show, and we hope you've enjoyed it. Lots of exciting things. We're bringing in my friend from Jet Pizza tonight. And we have talked about his sex life. You'll have to hold that because my wrist is broken. We've talked about your sex life, but one of the things I'm curious about, you deliver pizza for Jet. That's your job. I'm always curious. What's the most interesting thing that ever happened to you when you knocked on someone's door and delivered?
Well, the funniest thing was also the scariest. It involved a Speedo, porn, and more dick than any delivery driver needs to see.
Oh!
Whoa!
So wait,
You're
Joe.
like-
Joe, was that you ordering pizza?
Thank you
Not
very
another
much.
Uncle Joe story.
Appreciate it. We love
And
Jet
that just
Pizza.
happened right now.
We're gonna enjoy Jet Pizza after the show. So that brings our show to a close. We want to wish you good night, and all of my friends here at It's Happening Out want to say good night to you. And we'll start with Power.
Good night, children.
And welcome back to you.
Thank you.
Aaron Phoenix
Rest in power, Ashanti Carmen. And good night, gender fuckers. Stay visible.
and my friend Josie
Good night, beautiful world. I believe in you.
and my friend Carlos.
Good night, fashionistas. Stay cute.
And we're very happy to celebrate Napoleon Plays tonight, my friend Napoleon.
That's why I have my little party hat on. Good night, wheat tards, or anyone else that can't eat gluten. I feel you when there's a pizza right there.
That's right. We're having pizza because he can't eat it.
Yeah.
So there, Henry Cavill. We always remind you, we are looking for gay community. That's what this show is all about. We hope we're helping you find it, and we're finding it ourselves. And remember, if it's important to you, it's happening out. Good night, America.
Good night.
Thanks so much for watching us. If you like what you saw, please subscribe to our channel and like us on Facebook.